Hello and welcome to a new watercolor video. Today I'm doing a paint along of this cute little cottage. So today I'm using some watercolor products that was sent to me by the company Maiden, which I was absolutely thrilled about, but I'll show you me quickly unboxing those and show you what I got, and then we'll move on to the painting. So thanks so much Maiden for sending me these products. If you want to download the outline and paint along, you can. So that'll be available as usual on my Patreon page, and there'll be links below. Maiden have obviously sent me these products to advertise their products. So if there's anything that you want to get from Maiden, I've got a 12% discount code, which will be listed below, and all the links to the products are listed below in the description as well. So for this video, I've been very kindly gifted some products to use from Maiden. Now I'm absolutely delighted that this company has approached me, because I do already have quite a lot of Maiden products. I've got lots of their palettes that I've purchased in the past, and I've heard really good things about their watercolor paper, so I'm really keen to try this out. So I'm going to be painting on this today. I've got some of their paint brushes. They've actually sent me quite a few things, so I'm going to unbox them, take a look at them, and then I'm going to use them for this tutorial. Okay, so start with the paper. No, I think it's a block. It is. It's a block of paper. Oh, I'm so delighted that it's a block. There we go. So this is their 100% cotton block, and it's got a lovely, quite a rough texture actually. I'd really like to try their hot press as well. I'll probably try that at some point. That feels really nice. Right, so that's the paper. I also got this beautiful set of brushes. Oh wow, look at them. Oh, there's quite a lot. I thought there was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there's actually more behind. Look at these. How beautiful are they? With the blue tip on the end, and then the white and blue handle. So there's lots of different sizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different brushes. Looks like I've got a paper cut. They are really, really pretty. They're very, very, very lightweight as well. So there's 3 flats. Unfortunately, the end of this has got damaged a little bit. So there's 3 flats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds and a fan brush. Really nice. So I'll be using those in the video. The bristles feel really, really lovely. Really smooth. And then the next thing, I'm going to have to put a plaster on. I can't even feel that. I didn't even feel it cutting. I'm going to just have to abandon ship and go and get a plaster on my thumb, because it won't stop bleeding. Okay, so the next thing they sent me is this absolutely beautiful, beautiful like little travel set. It's even got a lovely swatch card, some extra little items. It's got a rose gold coloured clip and a little water pot. I'm not really sure what that is. Absolutely beautifully presented in this box. It's quite heavy actually. I mean, maybe it isn't a travel kit. I thought it was a travel kit, but I'm not sure. It seems a little bit too heavy to travel. Yeah, all in one traveller's watercolour set. It is quite heavy. But look at the beautiful wooden box. Okay, so I think this fell out of there. So that goes in there. Wow, absolutely beautiful. Really, really beautiful. I thought this was a lot smaller than it is when I saw it in the picture. But these look like, oh, these are full half pans of paint. I didn't realise that. I thought there were tiny little ones. So we've got 27 colours in total. A little mix and palette here, a mix and palette here too, and then the little water pot goes there, and then the clip to clip your paper to the board. So I'm wondering if, I wonder what these are. These must have a purpose. I wonder what they're for. And then we've got a lovely, huge mop style watercolour brush, which looks lovely. Okay, so I will use the paints. I wouldn't really want any more paints. I was really excited when they contacted me because I wanted to try their paper, the brushes, and I absolutely love their ceramic palettes. But the reason I accepted this one is because it was in such a beautiful, handy travel kit that you can take travelling with you. So it will serve a purpose, because I'm trying not to buy any more watercolours. That's the thing with me. I've got so many watercolour paints, I don't need any more. So, but when I saw this, I thought, oh, yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. I would definitely love one of those. And it would just, if I go on holiday, it'll go in my suitcase. Be brilliant. And then there's little holes here that you can stand your paintbrush in. I feel as though it would fit on some kind of stand, like a tripod stand, because it's only when you lift it up that this falls into place. And then the same with these holes as well. That would work better like that if this was elevated. So I'm guessing it fits to some kind of tripod style easel, kind of for painting outdoors. I feel like that's probably what the purpose is. Okay, so that's that one. We'll be using those paints in today's video. I forgot to mention it also has these little magnetic closures as well. But yeah, we've got all these magnetic closures here. So snap shut and then it's secure. The box is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, the next thing they sent me is White Large. And this is one of their ceramic palettes, which I'm absolutely delighted about because I don't have this one. And I know I have said in the past that I don't really want to be doing products on my channel. Maiden though, it's Maiden, and I absolutely love Maiden ceramic palettes. And look at this one. Oh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. It's very, very large, but I think I know what I'm going to use this for. It's got a plastic lid, but it's a really tough, thick plastic. So obviously it's like a studio palette that you leave out, and this is obviously an excellent dust cover. But what I'm going to use mine for is gouache. I've got this Sarah Burns gouache subscription. It was like a subscription course that I haven't finished. I did the first few. I need to finish the last ones. And this is just going to be excellent for putting the gouache in and then leaving it in there, because as you move on through the different boxes, so this is going to be handy to just, like, if I've got the colours from a previous lesson, I can leave them in there if I haven't used it all. When I'd finished, there was still paint left that was getting thrown away, and then I was having to squeeze even more out for the next lesson. So that's what I'm going to use this for. I'm going to complete my Sarah Burns studio, and I'm going to put all her gouache colours in this one. So obviously I won't be using that in today's video because I'm using the paints in the other palette. So the last thing is this extra bonus gift that they sent me. It is as you can see on the box, it's the Christmas advent calendar. So we're already past Christmas now, but this was just an extra because they contacted me well into December, so it was too late for the advent box. But they still really kindly sent me one anyhow. So I am going to open it. Oh, so we've got a lovely Christmas bag. So I suppose if you were gifting this to somebody, you would put it in this bag. Look at that. It is absolutely huge. So I'm going to get this open, but I'm going to carry on with the tutorial because this is a tutorial video. If you want to watch me open it, I'm going to stick that on the end of the video. Okay, so this is all the colours swatched out. I would say there's not many browns. There's this one, and then there's a yellow ochre. Those are kind of the only earthy colours. So I guess you would have to mix your own browns. But other than that, it's a nice range of colours. And then I was taking another look at the paint box, and there's a little hole on this side here. There's also this on the bottom. So I do think that that means it attaches to some kind of tripod, which I think would be absolutely brilliant for painting in the garden in summer, because it's quite compact. You've got your little water dish, holes for paintbrushes, and this could either be a mixing palette, or this could be where you attach your paper with the clip. I'm going to look out for the stand that this attaches to, and I think I'm going to take it out and paint outside in the garden in the summer. The back of the box, all the pigments used are there. There is some white in some of the colours. PW6, PW6, PW6. There's white in a lot of the colours for some reason. That's unusual for them to mix white in with watercolour. And then there's also all the light fastness ratings as well. 16 out of the 27 are excellent light fastness, and it looks like all the rest of them are very good light fastness. So for now, because I'm painting on the desk, I'm just going to clip my colour chart to this and get started on the painting. So I'm starting with the number 5 round brush. I used the little flat brush to paint on the colour swatches, and it was absolutely brilliant. Lovely brush. So I've mixed up some of the light blue, and I'm going to mix into that a little bit of a mid blue, which is a little bit more turquoisey, and there is a teal colour. I'm going to mix some of that in as well, just to change the colour of the blue. I'm going to water that down quite a lot, so we just want a really light blue, and I'm going to do the paintwork on the house itself. So I'll wet the paper first. So I've heard really good things about this paper. I'm going to end it here because there's going to be some trees, some kind of foliage there, so I'm not taking it all the way to the bottom. I'm going to go right over all the windows. So I'm just carefully wetting all the areas where I want the paint to flow, because the paint will flow onto the wet parts. So this whole section, except for the door, and then over to this side of the house as well. Just go over the window, it's okay, because we're going to paint that back in later on. And then also this little area here is going to be blue as well. Right, now I'm just going to fill that with the mixture that I made. I want it to be nice and light. Push a pause for relief. Free pass, you don't even have to ask to be the cat in the sun. And then I'm taking all the water off the brush. I'm just going to lift out some of that just to kind of blend that edge. And then the same here as well. Make sure the brush is clean, because that's going to be foliage. Now next I'm going to mix up some of that really light pink colour. I'm going to dry off the blue first of all with the heat gun. So next I'm going to wet the whole of the roof area. And then paint the whole of the roof pink. I will see the whole deal through today. I've got better things to do. just kind of let it fade towards the bottom. Now I've switched to a much smaller brush to do the windows with, so this is the number 2, and I'm going to make up some of this one, which is like it looks like it's a Payne's grey. I'm actually going to mix a dark blue into that as well, and I'm just going to paint in the windows, so I'll just paint the whole block. And then I'm going to get some of that dark colour and just drop it in while the paint's wet, just to make them a little bit darker, because they're not really very dark. And then that should kind of like spread out kind of unevenly. We don't want it to be one solid block of colour. Then that same colour, I'm adding a lot more water to it, and I'm going to paint all of the white areas, so the white woodwork, in a very, very, very pale grey. And I'll be adding more white over the top later, just to add white highlights.
Set aside every empty spreadsheet line and loosen up on the grind. Simmer down, settle back and mess around.
So I'm doing a grey pathway, which is a little bit too dark, so I'm going to lighten that up by dragging some of the paint across. So it looks like we've got kind of a pavement pathway coming from the house, and then a pathway across the bottom. And I'm going to get more of that darker mix and do some kind of shapes as though it's just some winter foliage. So I'll just do a few little shapes, roundy shapes, like as though they're bushes.
In the sun, someday I will see the whole deal through. Today I've got better things to do. Okay, to lead a little bit undone.
I'm going to add a little bit of darkness at the bottom. Just put the strong colour in, let it spread upwards a little bit. And we're going to paint over the top of that, so just let that dry and then we'll add details over the top later. That's just like a base layer. I don't want it to be quite as harsh as that on the edge, so I've got some water on my brush and I'm going to soften that edge a little bit. And then the same on the other side, clean water and a little bit of a scrubbing on the edge. And then just painted the chimney in with like a brown brick colour. And I'll use that same colour for this little plant pot here. Okay, so that's the whole of the base layer painted. So now I'm just going to add all of the details and shading over the top. Now I want to paint some kind of lines on the blue paintwork, so it looks a little bit like wood paneling. So I'm going to use this really tiny brush. It's a 10/0 by Rosemary & Co. So it's just a liner brush or a rigger brush, and 10/0 is like really tiny. So I'm just using the blue-grey mix, but I've made it really watery. And then I'm just carefully painting some lines, just little hints of panels. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just trying to keep them straight so that it looks more realistic.
Be the cat in the sun.
just using some water to lighten, just to fade them a little because they're a little bit too prominent, especially the thicker ones. So I'm just kind of trying to make them blend in a little bit. It seems to be very, very staining paper. It's kind of not letting me move that. Now for some dark shadows, I'm using the same blue-grey mix. I'm going to have the sun come in from this way, so this would cause a shadow. So we're going to have it running parallel to this, and it'll make it look like this comes forward. So we want to go right across the window and just try and paint a straight line right down, and then fill all this in quickly before it leaves a stain. So I'm creating some quite dramatic shadowing that'll hopefully really pop out. Now this whole thing would cause shadow underneath here as well. So I'm going to do kind of an angle across here so it goes across that window and down to there, and then just put a layer over all of the blue areas underneath here. I'm going to leave a little patch here because sometimes you just get a little patch of sunlight. I didn't want to paint this bit here because this is the front of this bit would be light. I might take a little bit more of that out. The roof would cast a shadow as well, so we're going to paint a shadow across here. Just try and get it nice and straight. Go right across the window. So mainly the grey colour with a tiny little bit of blue. And then there's going to be a shadow on this roof as well. So, but it goes in more of a angle like this, and it just goes down to the edge there. So can you see how that, because the shadow's on a white area, it's a different colour. And I've gone right across to the edge, and that wouldn't be right at the edge. Now I need to make a shadow for the pink roof, so I'm going to get some more of the pink, and I'm just going to put the shadow colour in there, make it quite dark. So it's the shadow colour with a bit of the pink mixed in, and that's going to be the shadow colour for the roof. So we would kind of have a shadow there as well. So all the shadows have to be a different colour for different coloured surfaces, and it looks a bit horrible at the moment, but once all the final details are on, it should look really nice. And I've got some clean water on the brush, and this harsh line going across the window pane, I don't want this, so I'm going to try and just rub that out a little bit with the clean water. So we only really want the dramatic lines on the woodwork. I'm going right over all of the white woodwork, such as the window frames, and I'm using a really watery white gouache and the smallest number 1 brush. I'm just using the very tip of that brush because it's quite detailed, this part. Okay, so that's kind of like brought the window frames out that's in the shaded areas. The window frames that's in the light areas, at the end we're going to add some bright white to those, but we needed those to be kind of grey. Everywhere that's in the shaded part grey. Okay, so that's where we are so far. I'm now going to go in with the black pen and add all the line work to the outside, and then we'll just do some finishing touches and add some foliage in there. Basically just going to outline everything. I'm using, by the way, a waterproof fine liner in a 0.3, and this particular one is by Unipin. Right, I'm going to make it quite sketchy. I'm not trying to make the lines perfect. On these little window panes here, because we've got the sun coming in from this way, we're going to put a shadow, just a shadow line to the right and to the top. So for each little square, the right and the top. I'm switching to an even more tiny little black fine liner. So this is a 0.05. I'm not going to outline these little posts because they're too thin. And I'm not going to outline this either. So I'm getting some of that shadow colour that I've still got in the palette, and I'm going to add some deeper shadows just into some of the areas. Corner here, I'm just going to add a much darker strip of paint. Whoops. So I'm just using the tiny brush. And then the same on this one. I want that to be quite dark, so it looks like it was drying too light, so I'm just dabbing more paint onto that wet line. I want it to look super dark. A line here underneath the roof, just a little line. I also need to put shadows to the left hand side of the window frames, just little ones. Just a little bit at the bottom. So on all the white woodwork on the windows and everywhere, all the areas that are out of the shadow, I'm adding this Dr. Martens Blade Proof White. I'm using my little spotter brush that I always use, Zero Round by Princeton Velvet Touch, because the smallest brush in the maiden set is a number 1, but it's just still a little bit too big for what I need. So these posts here are actually, they won't be in shadow because they're sticking forward at the front of the house. So I'll make those nice and white. You can see here where the shadow cuts halfway across the window, and I've got this bit really white, and it looks really effective where the shadow ends. I'm taking out most of those black lines on the right hand side as well, because that's where the sun would be hitting, so it would kind of be bright white on those. The black lines that I put in these shadows, I've dulled them down with a little bit of grey paint. So I just mixed some white gouache in with some grey paint, and I took those out as well because they didn't look right. They were really standing out in the shadows, so I've painted those out. I've made a mess here. I've got the shadowing wrong on here. I've got it completely wrong. But I'm just going to leave it. Just try and blend that out. I'll just leave a little bit of white around the edge. Just look like the sun's hitting that corner, but this is not correct. I've also gone over way too far on this edge with the white, so I'm going to add a little bit of pink back into that, the pink watercolor, and try and cover that up a little bit. I'm going to darken this pane of glass. I think that would be a lot darker in that shadow. Add a little door handle. Okay, so I think that's the house more or less finished. I'm just going to add some foliage now. I'm going to get some of the brown and I'm going to mix in some of the shadow colour that I made to darken that brown. I want to dull it down. I want it to be quite watery. I'm going to add a few drops of water into there. And then I'm going to use the little rigger brush for this one. And I'm going to carefully pin in these twigs. Well, the kind of like leafless branches, leafless trees. So I'm just carefully letting the pencil lines guide me. I made a bit of mistake here, but don't worry because we can paint that over with white at the end. Some of these trunks a little bit thicker than the top branches, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm switching back to the little spotter brush and I'm gonna like kind of paint some kind of curvy kind of grasses and little bits of foliage. Just really dark colour and drop some of that in right at the bottom. So this is like the really dark shadow colour from earlier, and then just let it spread itself up into those little wet areas. Final thing I'm going to do is just get a little bit of colour put a few little, oops, that's too strong. Just water that down. Just a few little bumps here and there, just a few little marks to make it look like there's kind of snow. Just a few kind of little random patches. Maybe kind of, these are too sharp, these corners. If I rub on these little harsh lines, soften that a little bit to make it look like it's kind of the edge of the snow. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so that is the picture. So, just a word about the stuff that Meaden sent me. I absolutely love the paintbrushes. They're beautiful and they work perfectly well. The nice and lovely smooth bristles. I do really like those. I absolutely love the palette. The advent calendar, you can see at the end what I thought of the advent calendar, and the watercolor set itself is absolutely beautiful, but the paints are just student grade paints, which is absolutely fine. But it's just that I'm used to using Winsor & Newton and Daniel Smith, so I can see the difference in the paints. And it's a shame that they've added white to some of them because it does the luminosity, but the box itself is really beautiful. The paper seems absolutely fine, but I would need to have more practice on it to see what it's like. I don't think it's of the level of like Archie's and Saunders Waterford, but it seemed very staining. When I tried to lift, I couldn't lift some of these little lines, but cotton paper often is very staining. I'm definitely going to be using this more, doing more practice on it to see what I think. It's hard to tell just after one painting, but I have heard a lot of other people say great things about this paper. So yeah, so there we go. If you stick around, I'm going to show you that advent calendar now as well. Now I have already seen this being opened, but that was weeks and weeks ago, and I vaguely remember some of the items, but you know, I forgot. So it's going to be a surprise again because I just can't remember, which is good. So it kind of opens like this. Oh, kind of squeeze it past my camera. Oh, okay, so you lift, use the ribbon, and this lifts off the top layer. Oh, and then we've got the second layer, 2 layers. So we've got a thin layer, and then this one is much thicker, much deeper. They must be larger items. There's a bit of a bump there. I think something's fell out of place. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to watch this being unboxed, if you haven't already seen this one. Can you believe it? I opened day 1 and 2 and the camera wasn't recording. So day 1 was this lovely little travel brush. It's got the Maiden logo on the front. Difficult to see in this light. And it is a lovely mop brush. Really, really nice travel mop brush. I do not have one of those. I've got some travel brushes, but not a mop brush one. Second day, day 2, we got this little envelope, and it contains watercolor postcards. So there's 10, and they're hot press, and they've got this beautiful little border on them. So that's those. That's day 2. So day 3, we've got a set of coloured pencils with the Maiden brand on. Look very nice, very fancy. Day 4, we've got a set of oil pastels, and those are Christmas colours. So there's the gold, silver, red, green, white and black. Really nice. I wonder what those are like. Day 5, this tiny little, oh my god, that's so cute. They are so cute. They're really tiny little paints, and it's a little magnetic, and it's like quite a high it feels quite high quality and well made. Acrylic, it's like, you know, when you get like acrylic drawers and stuff to put makeup and makeup brushes in, it feels like that. Tiny, but if you just wanted to put it in your pocket to if you were going out on a walk and you wanted to do a little bit of paint, and you can just shove these little things in your pocket. Number 6, we've got a set of acrylic markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 colours. Very nice. Let's take a little look at them. We've got one of those bowls inside, and it looks like they're just ready to go. Nice. That looks really nice. Do you know what? I think this is a good box. I'm not just saying it. So far, these are really good items for an advent calendar, because quite often you just do not get your money's worth in an advent calendar. Number 7. Oh, got some watercolour paper. So another little pad of paper. I have got the larger pad, but it's handy to have these little ones. Yeah, so all this you can stick in your pocket. Going out for a walk, stick them in your pocket. And these look like, these are loose leaf, and it's the cold press, and it's 100% cotton. More paper. Little sketchbook. Oh, that is lovely. This, I'm not just saying this is a good advent calendar, because I have seen some absolutely rubbish advent calendars where you just get ripped off, and this is not one of them. Look at that. How cute is that? It's got like fabric down the side. I wonder if that's watercolour paper. Oh no, it's just a sketchbook for pencil drawing. It's not watercolour, but it's gorgeous. It's really cute. So number 9, we've got a little pin with the Maiden logo. Oh, it's a little magnetic one. So the back is like strong magnet, jumped out of my hand. Yes, it's like a little magnetic closure. Looks quite strong. I'm actually going to try, and I bet I can put it on. I bet you it's so strong, the magnet, it'll probably... Yep, look at that. Day 10. Oops. That is going to stick to everything now. We've got a artist eraser. It's one of the white plastic ones, which are the best. Brilliant. Can't go wrong with them. I will say this is a little bit flimsy. If I have one complaint, this is a little bit flimsy and awkward. Oh, now we've got the pencil. 4B Maiden pencil. Very nice. So we've got the pencil, the eraser, sketchbook, and then for watercolouring we've got the little watercolour paint set, the travel brush, and the little watercolour book. So that's like 2 kind of, and obviously you could use the these in your sketchbook as well. All right, now number 12. Number 12, we've got a little, what do you call them? Like a little mini easel that you would stand a little painting on. Quite cute. I mean, that's just a little bit, that feels a little bit cheapy, to be honest with you, but you're going to get some crap gifts, aren't you? Is that everything? I think that's, so that's that layer. That's all of those. Number up to 12. Right, the bottom layer. So number 13. I think that's out of another one. Leave that there. So 13, we've got a full massive tube of heavy body acrylic paint, titanium white. Now that is definitely going to come in handy for a lot of things, and you get a full massive tube, so that's good. 14. Oh, looks like we've got another paintbrush. Nice. So it's in a plastic tube, and it's another little mop brush, but it's a very, very small one, which I think it's a mop brush. I'm presuming it's a mop brush. Really, really nice. I don't have a mop brush that small, so that is really going to come in handy. 15. Ooh, 15, we've got some of these little wooden slices. So you can make like Christmas decorations or something with these, paint on them. I've got a whole box of these that I got a couple of years back, and I still haven't used them. But I think they were a little bit of a craze at one point. Everybody was using them. But you could paint those with, I could paint those with the acrylic white as a base and then use the acrylic paints on those. 16. Oh, that's what must have been in there, 16. So these are little decorative clips. Looks like hair clips, but they're little the little paint tubes with the Maiden logo on them. So acrylic, watercolor and oil paint. 17 is this. That is absolutely beautiful. It looks like it's a little candle holder to put a little tea light candle in, and it's gold on the inside. That is gorgeous. That is a beautiful Christmas ornament. Really pleased with that. 18. Looks like we've got a tea towel or a bag. Yeah, it's a bag. So that is a little tote bag with the Maiden logo and some really, really cute artwork. That artwork is lovely. Really, really lovely. It would have been nicer if it didn't have that. If it just had more pictures, would have been perfect, but it is a nice bag and I do really love the pictures on there. Are they Christmassy? Oh, they are. They're Christmassy, yeah. Really nice. So we can put all the stuff in the bag. 19 is, I think it's stickers. Pretty sure the stickers, these. Yeah, it's some stickers and I'm pretty sure it's the pictures on the bag. Yeah. They're quite nice. They're alright. It's just stickers. It's not fabulous, but they're quite nice stickers. 20. A little clip, and it's a little Christmas tree. 21. Ooh. Oh, it's a little Christmas tree that you can paint. It's one of them little clay models. That's quite nice. 22. We've got a set of paintbrushes. Just take a look at these. Now, these do feel a little bit cheapy, to be honest with you, and they're like slightly damaged at the ends, unfortunately. So there's no protectors on them, so they haven't been protected, and they feel a little cheapy, so just being totally honest. But yeah, they are slightly disappointing, if I'm honest. 23. Oh, we've got some beautiful washi tape. That's really nice. We've got a red one with Merry Christmas in gold, and then we've got like a black and gold pattern. So it's 2 washi tapes. And then the very last window, number 24. Cannot get it out. It won't come out. It's one of them mini canvases. I cannot get it out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, mini canvases, so that will probably, you could paint a little picture and stand it on the little wooden easel. It's not, that's terrible quality. I mean, it's actually baggy. You can see it's not even. So that's a little bit disappointing. It has got marks on it, not that that matters because it'll be getting covered up. Right, the box is so high quality. It really, really is. I'll do a little recap. I think the bag's absolutely lovely. I'm going to pick out the really good items that I think are really good items for Advent calendar. The bag, this, those, this. You know, these are really decent gifts for Advent calendar windows. The nice paintbrush, the travel paintbrush, the acrylic pens, the little sketchbook, these little wooden slices, this little Christmas tree, the watercolor paper. I think they're all the good presents, and you're always going to get some little cheapy ones, aren't you? Now, maybe kind of middle of the road is the postcards. I think that's quite good. I'm going to put that with that. The pencil looks like a good quality pencil and a good quality eraser as well. So it's just that they're not really worth very much. Oh, and I forgot about this. I think that's quite cute. I mean, it's not the nicest design, but you can tell it's a really high quality made pin. So if you're a pin collector, it's probably a nice pin to have. I don't know where I'm going to put it on, but I will put it somewhere. So you're always going to get nice stuff, and some stuff's going to be a little bit cheapy. So these are the kind of mediocre things that I wasn't really that impressed with. The paintbrushes, the easel and the canvas, the little hair clips, the stickers and the little clip. I do like the little clip. It is quite nice, but it's not really a very substantial gift. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed me opening that. And I'm wondering if they're going to do one next year. Overall, I would give that, if you were marking advent calendars, giving it like a score of 1 to 10 for advent calendars, I would definitely give this maybe an 8. I think it's quite good. And the box is such high quality. It's a shame to actually throw it away. I don't know what I'm going to do with that box, but I might find a use for it. The hoarding part of me thinks I might find a nice use for it.